Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and a very different video to what I would normally be posting. This one's about hobby burnout. I think we've all been there. So hobby burnout, where you just don't have the motivation, the enthusiasm to pick up a brush, to open your paints. And this happened to me many times in the past, but it's always been a week or so, and normally I find inspiration from somewhere and I'm back painting again. Now, back in early April, if you watch the Plastic Crack podcast, and you should, every Monday night, 8 o'clock UK time, I mentioned that I was in the middle of a hobby funk, a hobby burnout, and it was pretty bad. It was, I think I hadn't picked up a brush in about 2 weeks. I hadn't done anything. I hadn't painted anything. I hadn't been interested. I've been doing other things. I've been playing video games, I've been reading, I've been doing anything but picking up a brush. And this got worse. It got progressively worse. My motivation was absolutely shot. So I tried what other people I've done in the past. Have a break. It's not bad having a break. This is a hobby. It's not a career. It's not a job. It's always going to be there at the end. But it just carried on, and I'd sit down. And my desk was like this. Tumbleweeds everywhere. Just no inspiration, no motivation, no interest. So I thought, well, I'll try a few things. I took a break, didn't work. I absolutely binge watched loads of videos of channels that I'm subscribed to. I just made me jealous because see everybody else was enjoying themselves, painting and modelling and gaming, and I couldn't. I wasn't getting anything from it. And it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse to a point where at one point I was pricing up my ball action armies in preparation for selling them, because I really didn't think I was going to be coming back to the hobby. I thought, nope, you've had a good run, Steve. You've had a good 30 years at this hobby. Maybe it's time for fly fishing, train spotting, something different than painting, modelling and gaming. And it really was that bad. And then one day I thought, no, this can't go on. This really can't go on. And it was just at the time when Achtung Panzer by Warlord Games had been released, and my pre-order arrived. I thought, I've got to do something. This could be the motivation. So I went back to my roots. Tanks, model tanks. I love model tanks. I love building them, I love painting them, I love weathering them, and it's always been something I've always looked forward to. So I thought, right, I'm gonna do something. I'm not gonna build anything, I'm not gonna paint anything, I'm just gonna work on something that I'm not happy with. And so this was it. This was the model that got me sort of back into the hobby. I'd painted this years ago, and I wasn't happy with it. It was a bit rubbish, if I'm being completely honest. So I just sat down with some paints, and I started adding some highlights. I did some stowage. Then I started doing the weathering, and I was like, this is fun. This is this is getting back to the old days. So I worked on this for 3 or 4 nights after work, until a point where I was happy it was finished. And I was like, I've finished something. Yes, it's done. It really is done. And I was super happy. I was so chuffed with the way this turned out. And so I was like, well, let's just stick with model tanks. So I ordered something I've never ever painted before, at this scale anyway. It's a Tiger tank. This is a Tiger tank from Warlord Games, and I just bought it on a whim. I thought any tank will do at this stage, as long as it gets me motivated and enthused back into the hobby. And so I worked on this over about 4 nights after work, and thoroughly enjoyable. And the painting, I enjoyed getting back to the painting. I enjoyed just everything about it. It was like finding the hobby again for me. I've been so far away from it. For it must have been about 6 weeks. I'd not done anything for about 6 weeks. So to get back, paints out, weathering, pigments out, brushes out, it was just great. And once these were done, I was sort of back into the hobby then. and I didn't feel like I wanted to sell my bolt action armies anymore, which was very, very strange for me. If anyone knows what I do a lot of bolt action painting, and the thought of selling my armies that I'd been painting over the past sort of 8 years, no, couldn't have done it. Almost did, but couldn't have done it. So yeah, hobby burnout. Just a very short video about why these tanks will always be important to me, because they got me back into the hobby. They got me through the worst hobby burnout of well, as long as I've been painting. That was the worst. 6 weeks I barely did anything, barely touched anything. But from then I've been back, and the testament is this. I thought, right, are you back to it? Can you paint landscapes? And yes, I can, because they're on the screen now. And in my opinion, if you can paint landscapes, you are way past your hobby burnout, if you get my drift. So yeah, just a very short video on why these tanks are important to me, and hobby burnout. We all find different ways of beating it, of getting over it. Mine was I did take a break, and when I came back, I did struggle. But working on something that I knew that in the past I liked, I enjoyed, something very basic, just like painting a tank, it just opened up the hobby again for me. And I'm so grateful that I did. I mean, the thought of walking away after 30 plus years, I don't know. It would have been a very, very strange gap in my free time. Let's put it that way. But how about you? Have you experienced hobby burnout? How long did it last for? What did you do to get over it? I'd love to hear people's stories, people's tales, how they coped or got over the hobby burnout. I mean, it sounds like quite a trifling thing, given that it's just a hobby, but I get so much from this hobby. The thought of not having it anymore was terrifying. I didn't enjoy it. It was a very, very uncomfortable time for me, but I'm very, very glad that these tanks got me back into the hobby. Well, I hope you found that a rather different video enlightening. If you've got any comments or questions about this or burnout, leave your tales and stories in the comments sections below. Love to hear from you. But as always, thanks for watching. May your dice roll well, and I'll catch you in the next video. So bye bye for now.